Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Tornov, here with your Double or Nothing review for 2023. Boy, it feels good to be reviewing another AEW pay-per-view off a chill weekend, I'm sure was for many in the Las Vegas area. But Double or Nothing, I think many will agree on this, that the crowd, well, it was mixed reviews for the crowd for AEW Double or Nothing. Because I read online and on social media, some were saying the crowd was loud. Some were saying that the crowd was not very monotone. Now, overall, when I watched the highlights of the pay-per-view last night, the crowd seemed okay. I mean, obviously could have been better. And I think, thing with Las Vegas, there for a week, and, this crowd, the build was not the best. But at the same time, Las Vegas has not been known for big crowd or great crowds when it comes to WWE or etc. Just how it is. But now I know Las Vegas is the tradition for Double or Nothing. However, maybe next year they may want to look possibly for a new location. Because now, obviously, in 2019, the first Double or Nothing was a success. Next two are obviously up for grabs, being that 2020, obviously, they were basically in the Nightmare Factory and Jacksonville. Following in 2021, although they had fans back, but Double or Nothing was obviously different. And then last year, it was alright. Obviously a different card. But 2023 felt different for as far as the crowd, because we know how a crowd can help build up a good card or a decent card. Really how it is. But nonetheless, as far as a whole, I would say Double Nothing had, it was good, not great. I mean, compare it to Revolution for stars earlier this year. It was not as good. Not as good. Not even or Full Gear. Just this Double or Nothing felt not as good as recent AEW pay-per-views have been. Just the nature of the game. But especially in the second half, the ladder match and so on, is when it felt like the crowd and the card really picked up because, credit. The booking going in this card was not great. Or the build up, per se, but I think overall still was good. Especially with the main event, Anarchy in the Arena, 4 pillars match. I mean, just overall, the end really helped out the card. But overall, I'm not going to complain too much at all. Drop card. Oop, 1 sec. Whoop-de-doo. But here we are to go over the AEW Double or Nothing and full card, full review, etc. But before we get into it, no drill, subscription, please help out the video, help out the channel. It's somewhere over here. Notification bell, click on that as well. But thank you. And yeah, there's that to get stuff out of the way first. But yeah. So before we get into the review, 2 things gotta go over. First, Kris Statlander. It's been a long time, since we've seen her. The last we saw her was in the summer of last year. She unfortunately had another significant knee injury, but nonetheless, she came back after the Jade Cargill Taya Valkyrie match when Jade issued an open challenge and out came Kris Statlander, knocked her out, hit the Big Bang Theory, and is new just like that. The new TBS champion. Look, first of all, Kris looked great. Great to see her back. Women's division could definitely need her. I mean, the women's division has been left to be desired as of late. Looking, but a presence like Statlander, because she was very, very over with the crowd last time, and it was just her injury came at an unfortunate time, but now she's back and she looks better than ever. So hopefully she can stay healthy and hopefully she can provide a reign. Second of all, Jade Cargill. Look, I said before, and I think people know, people agree. Jade has always looked like a star. That's never been the problem. Never been. The issue always with her and going into her reign, it's like these micromanage matches, these small matches that she has against this competition. She has not faced the real upper echelon of competition, really, in AEW. It's like, yes, you know, besides maybe Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa, she has not really faced, I mean, the Britt Baker's of the world, Toni Storm. I mean, you look up and down the list of who she's beaten, and yes, the number is good, but who's on that list? I mean, no offense to the competition, but they've really just fed her, lesser and lesser competition, and with her matches and how she's not really gotten much better, really diminished the reign, and Statlander being back and winning the title, it feels like a breath of fresh air. You know, I mean, so yeah, but either way, yeah, it's good to see Statlander back and in new direction. I'm so not a huge fan of two women's titles, but hopefully now we can see Kris, well, that's the other thing to think about. Okay, well, Collision is coming up, and there's gonna be like a brand split pretty much with Dynamite and Collision. So I think that Kris is gonna primarily, with the TBS style, be on Dynamite, which will be an interesting factor because Collision is gonna be on TNT. So there's thought. The other bit of news that happened on the show happened in the main event. Konosuke Takeshita, we have not seen for a bit, was the deciding factor of the main event, Anarchy in the Arena, which was great. It was a mess. It was chaotic. I mean, it was what you wanted it to be. But Konosuke Takeshita was ultimately what swayed the match in the favor of the Blackpool Combat Club when Omega was distracted by Don Callis, and all of a sudden we see Konosuke hit Omega with a big knee and ultimately costing him the match. I mean, that was something. So now Omega said, well, if I have to guess, based on what's happened, Konosuke is siding with the Blackpool Combat Club. Just as a thought, at least with Don Callis. And Kenny Omega did say in a promo after the show off the air was that he has two buddies or two friends, non AEW, who are coming in as backup for the Elites versus the BCC. So, right off the bat, if I have to guess, Ibushi is one. And if I have to say another, it's either going to be Kazuchika Okada or Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll we have not seen in a long time, obviously with allegations and stuff, and non-wrestling issues, but that's been a couple few years since. I know he's done things here and there, but I could see him, coming in to AEW and helping this aid, and Blood and Guts is gonna be in the near future for the feud, 5-on-5, and it's gonna be interesting how they play this in because still Matt's injured, partially injured. So, I mean, two guys. I'm just curious how that's going to go down. But either way, it's going to be something fun to watch. Well, with that all, let's get into the review. Uh, but yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, the show overall was good. The first half was okay. Second half really brought it, I'd say. So, but yeah. So the show started off with the Blackjack Battle Royal for the international title. I was under the impression that either Jay White's or based on the field that was shown in the graphic, that Jay White or Orange Cassidy was going to win this match. Just based on that. But alas, Orange Cassidy retained. This Battle Royal was good, I'd say. For the time it was given, the placement, we got Brian Cage there, we got Swerve and Keith Lee, still kind of rekindling their feud. We got obviously Commander and some high flying in the match. We got Phoenix, Penta, who is actually in the Final Four. We got Big Bill, Lee Moriarty. We got, Ricky Starks, Juice Robinson. We got a lot of folks, Butcher and Blade. So I'm going to keep this up ultimately till the Final Four. So, the Final Four of the match was Big Bill, Penta, Swerve, and Orange Cassidy. Right off the bat, you kind of had the feeling that Orange Cassidy was going to retain. Because, Big Bill, he had a very good showing in this match. He eliminated Ricky Starks, he eliminated a few, he eliminated Penta. Spoiler, but he eliminated Penta in the Final Four. But he had a match with Orange Cassidy a number of weeks ago, and he lost. And it seems like they're more trying to build this tag team with Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. So, even though Big Bill, I liked his showing, but at the same time, based on what has happened, I didn't feel it was going to be a good choice to win it. But yeah, Big Bill, he had a great showing in Battle Royal, but didn't think he was going to win it, unfortunately. Especially since he won that tag team match with Lee Moriarty against Best Friends on Rampage. So he's out. Then you look at Swerve. Okay, well, it looked like they were doing something with Swerve for a while, and then it was mainly just prioritized on Rampage. This feud with Keith Lee was not. They put on hold, and then they went back with it. I mean, it's been on and off with Swerve, so he's out. And then also you have Penta. Penta is one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Now, could it make sense? Yes, because it's the international title. And of course, we know Penta, you know, his variety of where he's gone to, AAA, um, he's with AEW now, but long on the Indies, Impact, etc. So, Luchador Penta would make sense in that aspect, but you looked at who's left, you're like, okay, Orange Cassidy's probably going to win and retain this time. And that was what happened. So, got down to a Final Four, like I said. So, Big Bill eliminated Penta over the top rope. Then Swerve and Big Bill pretty much formed a short alliance, it seemed, to try to get Orange Cassidy over the top rope. So, Swerve was on the attack of OC, and then Bill was like, no, 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 I want to eliminate him. So, Bill looked like he was about to press Orange Cassidy and double over the top rope, and then Swerve, I guess he thought he was going to eliminate him at the same time. So, Cassidy was dumped over the top rope, but he landed on the apron. He wasn't eliminated. But Swerve managed to dump out Big Bill. So he's gone. Now it's down to Swerve, Orange Cassidy. They had a very good exchange at the end of the match. Swerve has Swerve some on to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy fired back, managed to hit a few DTs. They wound up on the apron. ultimately, though, Orange Cassidy just kicked Swerve's hand. He wasn't able to grip the ropes anymore, and then he fell out of the ring onto the outside. Orange Cassidy retained, and still, Orange Cassidy is the international champion. Now, I can understand a bit when it comes to criticism because look, Orange Cassidy, well, he's defended the title 23 times. So there's that. And then, you know, he starts the opening match pretty much very often. Very often. And he started the pay per view off as well. So I can understand if they're upset with this repetitiveness of AEW and Tony Khan. But nonetheless, you still managing to put out good matches. Yes, wish there could be more story with Orange Cassidy, but nonetheless, he's had a hell of a reign. You have to agree. And in a way, I'm glad that Orange Cassidy retained because, look, it will mean much more for a competitor to pin Orange Cassidy when the time is right and we have a new international champion, as opposed to him being dumped over the top rope in a battle royal. But perhaps we can get a story to the challenger who's going to eventually take it from him, and then we go there. But I mean, overall, I don't really mind it because, if Jay White was going to win it, okay, that would be great. But at the same time, him winning in a Battle Royal be kind of not so great for me in that aspect. But there's that. So, Orange Cassidy retains in a heck of a match to open the show, I'd say. So then we got the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. This was a good brawl between the two. This was. Now, some spots looked odd, but sadly, that's the nature of the game with Jericho. But overall, it was a good brawl and a good fight, I think. Wasn't great. I mean, the crowd was very lukewarm for this match. But, yeah, it was overall past the test, I'd say. So, Jericho was obviously out there with JS. Cole came out with Strong and Sabu. So, already barely a minute into the match, Sabu and Strong, they were taking on JS. Obviously, Sabu had a chair. He dived through a table, looked a bit off, but he unfortunately Sabu's not how he used to be in 2023, but he still managed to get a dive on Daddy Magic Matt Menard through a table, and then there's this hostile from there, and we didn't really see much from JS or Sabu or Strong after that, so I'm kind of glad they got out early, so that way it's just pretty much one-on-one between Jericho and Cole. So Jericho got the advantage. He hit a suplex to Cole on the outside from the apron. Had to have sucked. And then Cole wedged the chair between the ropes. So Jericho obviously went face first into it. Jericho, he went for a lion salt, but it looked like he didn't get much of a jump or much momentum off it. But nonetheless, Cole managed to catch him with a super kick in midair. Jericho fired back, walked in the walls of Jericho. No rope breaks in the unsanctioned match, but lo and behold, Cole saw a fire extinguisher near the edge of the ring. So Cole managed to get it. And then this was kind of to Jericho's undoing because he wasn't able to take back in the fire extinguisher. But Jericho brought him back in, and Cole got the fire extinguisher and sprayed Jericho in the face, which saved him. So Jericho got a code breaker for 2, and then good little spot in this match. So Britt Baker came out of nowhere with a candlestick, got her revenge for what happened weeks ago. She had a candlestick and wailed on Jericho in the corner, and Saraya came out for a save. She got wailed on with this candlestick as well, and got chased to the back. I mean, good little spot. So Cole got this chain, and it basically was like almost like handcuffs. So he tied himself to Jericho. So this was like a impromptu chain match for 2 guys. So that was interesting. So back and forth. Cole hit not 1 but 2. Actually, first he hit Panama Sunrise, which looked iffy for a near fall. They hit not 1 but 2 booms to the back of the head. And then he wailed on Jericho, some ground and pound, and Aubrey said Jericho couldn't defend himself, so she called the match, and due to referee stoppage, Cole beat Jericho. So there was that. I can bet the crowd was not too pleased with the finish. Same for me, it kind of caught me off guard. I mean, it was okay, but could have been better. Could have been better. But overall, the match, like I said, was passable. It was not bad. Um, it's just the crowd kind of took away from it a bit. So, yeah. Shoot, one sec. So, so here's the thing. So all throughout the highlights and all, I could legitimately not find the. I mean, I just couldn't find the Jade Cargill tie match. It just was on any. I couldn't find it. So, but Jade ultimately won. Called out Statlander, or called out for an open challenge. Statlander, she came out to answer. Again, she looks great. Good to see her back. She had scuffles with Jade. She knocked her out and then hit the Big Bang Theory. 1, 2, 3. The crowd was pumped for that. So good for her. And we have a new TBS champion in Kris Statlander. So very good. So FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal for the World Tag Team Championships. I again, the build for this was just not good, not great. Now, as far as the match, I knew it was going to be a solid match, but at the same time, it felt like a circus a bit with all who was out ringside. I mean, Mark Briscoe, yes, he was special guest referee, which I like that touch at the end, I will say. So he was special guest referee. He had Karen Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett's wife on the outside. You had Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh. So I mean, there's that. But match was good for what it was. So they targeted Cash's knee for a while. Dragon Screw by Lethal. Jarrett managed to lock in a figure four after a bit and shenanigans. So Lethal and a lethal combination for a near fall. Mark Briscoe ejected both Sanjay and Satnam Singh. So there's that. Wait, so while Dax and Mark's backs were turned, Jarrett had the guitar pumped, but he accidentally wiped it over the head of Mark Briscoe, laying him out. FTR had the big rig, but referee was out. So then we see Aubrey Edwards. She ran down to try to clear things up. Karen Jarrett, because they had two guitars, wiped out Aubrey with a guitar spot, which got her some really good heat. Jay Lethal, he had a double lethal injection on both members of FTR, but again, no referee. So, Dax hit a pile driver on Lethal, taking him out for the time being. Jarrett then laid out Dax with a title belt. Briscoe came to 1, 2, but only a 2 count. And Jeff was not too pleased. And then right when he turned around, he got met with the big rig by FTR. 1, 2, 3. FTR retained. And there was that. So, a good match. A fun match. It's just, you don't need Jeff Jarrett. The tag team division needs better direction. And I'm glad that Aussie Open was signed because tag team division needs help and needs direction, especially if FTR are the tag team champions. So hopefully we can move in a better direction for the tag team division in the summer months. Ricky Starks, he is gonna be interviewed by Marvez, but then he got attacked again by Bullet Club Gold, who then were chased off by FTR. Um, so stuff there. Chris Jericho and Saraya. They so Jericho was frustrated. He threw a fireball into a security guard's face backstage. And so he and Saraya challenged Britt Baker and Adam Cole to a mixed tag for Wednesday's edition of Dynamite. So there was that. And it was made official later in the show. Mr. Turtleneck, Christian Cage, and versus Wardlow. TNT Championship ladder match. This is good. I did relatively like it. Christian Cage, you got a turtleneck chant. I mean, that was probably the biggest highlight of the match. I mean, hilarious. So, this was the one match where I did not know where it was going to go. Pretty much. I mean, with the way the TNT Championship has been booked of late, I mean, you never know. But I'm hindsight, I'm glad of been a joy to see Christian win, but glad that Wardlow retained, and for once we don't see a back and forth defense of TNT title. So yeah, so Christian wedged a ladder, as you expect, between the ring apron and the barricade. Wardlow went for a powerbomb on it, but was dropped in between the wedge of the ladder, which had to have sucked. So There, or excuse me, Christian matches up a ladder, you know, bridging from the turnbuckle. So basically catapulted Wardlow into the ladder. Had to have sucked again. So Wardlow then finally managed to get on this ladder as Christian Cage would take out after Christian was press slammed onto a ladder by Wardlow. Luchasaurus came out, threw Christian back in the ring. Christian met Wardlow on this ladder, hit reverse DT off the top. This was the big spot though of the match. So Wardlow, Arn Anderson getting involved with Luchasaurus. So was actually biting his thumb. I tell you. Yikes. So there were two ladders, or yeah, there were ladders, and then there were two tables set up on the outside. Luchasaurus was on the tables. Wardlow in his best Jeff Hardy imitation. Off the top rope, hit a swanton. Threw Luchasaurus through these tables, which took Luchasaurus out. Christian managed to get on the ladder, but Arn Anderson, again, Wardlow's manager, helped shoved Christian off this ladder, which aided Wardlow enough time. Wardlow got onto the ladder, unhooked the title, and retained the TNT title. Wardlow is still the TNT champion. So, good stuff, good stuff. I tell you, both the women's matches didn't really see much. So, this was unfortunate. So, based on a couple weeks ago, it appears, Jamie Hayter is sorely injured based on how she's been booked as of late. You didn't know, but so Toni Storm obviously challenged Jamie Hayter to his women's title match, but we didn't really see much of Jamie on TV. So Toni made her entrance, and then Jamie Hayter was assaulted by the rest of the Outcasts prior to the match. I mean, simple. Hayter insisted on the match, so they went on. Toni managed to get some more revenge. Hayter did land a Uranagi, but that was much. So finally, Toni hit the Storm Zero, 1, 2, 3. And Toni Storm is the new women's champion. It does feel good in a way because obviously last year Toni was recognized as the interim women's champion. Now obviously Hayter took the title from her at Full Gear, but yeah, there was that. But good for Toni. What's it mean for Jamie Hayter? I'm not sure how injured she is. That's certainly a question. And it's unfortunate because she is very over again with the crowd as well. So yeah. Maybe they could use this in the eventual Britt Baker feud, which is going to be money between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. So, yeah. House of Black. Open House Rules. Match for AEW Trios titles. Versus the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. You kind of have a feeling based on the Acclaim picking up wins on Rampage. You kind of have a feeling when this match was made who's going to come out. Max Caster had a hell of a rap. I tell you, very good sell points. Very good for this rap, must say. So, Bowens, for the most part, he was getting beat down on this match. Malachi was targeting the knee of Bowens, walked in a knee bar for a while. Bowens got out. Brody hit a cannonball for a near fall. Finally, Bowens managed to make the hot tag to Billy Gunn. Had some offense, but numbers game caught up to him. And then Malachi very swiftly hit the Black Mass on Billy Gunn. 1, 2, 3. And the House Black retained in the open house. So, nice stuff. Obviously a bit impromptu, but, you know, look, House of Black are good enough to be in a feud. But, I mean, I'm just glad we'd see more and more of House of Black, so I'm not complaining too much, I would say. But yeah. We were curious how or what match was going to be the main event. But then we got the Four Pillars match between for the AEW World Championship. Jungle Boy for Sammy Guevara for Darby Allin for MJF. First of all, congrats to Sammy Guevara and congrats to Todd Mo. So, MJF, Darby, and Sammy Guevara, they all had customized entrances. So, that was cool. But for Sammy's, we know how Sammy has the cue cards. Well, Time Mel was out there and it was announced on one of the cue cards that they are gonna have a baby. So, congrats to Time Mel and congrats to Sammy Guevara. Sammy's gonna be a dad. And they did one little spot in this match which played into it, which was fun. Yeah, the Four Pillars match. And this was as good as it could get between these four. So obviously, high flying was big factor. For most parts match, Jungle Boy, Star Family didn't really get a customized entrance. So, but he was very good in this match. He had Suicida to people on the outside. Sammy had Shooting Star onto the rest. There was a nice spot in here. So, Jungle Boy was in the Tree of Woe. Sammy was going for a superplex on Darby. And while MJF was walking over, Jungle Boy basically threw both of them into MJF in like a German suplex, superplex kind of position. So that was a nice spot. Instead of the usual Tree of Woe when everyone comes in, or Tower of Doom spot. There you go. So there was another great spot here. So take homage to their mentors. So Darby, I didn't see Sting, but he had a Sting kind of inspired entrance. So Darby, he had a Scorpion Death Drop on Jungle Boy. Sammy hit a code breaker on Darby. Jack got hit a kill switch on Sammy Guevara. And then MJF hit a crossroads on Jungle Boy for near fall. So there was that. So then we go to the spot I was talking about. So there was obviously that offer of MJF paying Sammy to lay down for him at the pay per view, and he'll get this huge amount of money. So MJF took the microphone. It's like, hey, you're gonna be a dad. You need the money. Hey, lay down for me. For your kid, and then I'll make sure he gets paid. You guys get paid or whatever. So initially, it looked like Sammy was gonna lay down for him. So MJF covered or went to cover Sammy, and then Sammy tricked MJF and almost got the win. Hit a small package roll up, but for a good near fall, I mean, that was hilarious. So there's a nice little spot where two guys were in submissions and figure fours, Boston Crabs. But anyway, so prevent MJF from tapping out. He kind of grabbed Jungle Boy in like a chokehold, pretty much. So that was fun. That was good. A little spot. So Jungle Boy went flying. He hit a destroyer for a near fall. Sammy hit a shooting star press. Good looking for a near fall. So Darby, Jack Perry, and MJF, they were on the outside. Darby knocked both into the crowd. And this was a crazy spot. So Darby and Sammy were both on the top rope. MJF and Jack bet to get back onto ringside. Sammy hit a standing Spanish fly off the top onto both MJF and Jack Perry. That was a crazy spot, I will say. So Sammy hit a big DT on Jungle Boy for their fall. Darby hit a coffin drop on MJF, broken up by Jack. Finally at the end, so Darby, well, first of all, Jack was being conflicted. He took the AEW World Title from MJF, and he was looking conflicted because Darby was right there, but Jack opted not to use it. So Darby laid out Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy still had the world title. So Darby hit the coffin drop but landed on the world title. So he was out. So was Jungle Boy. MJF picked up the scraps, hit the headlock takeover on Darby. 1, 2, 3, and MJF retains the world title. This Four Pillars classic. Fun affair, I feel, between these four men. Good stuff. I mean, you were worried and also curious to see who is gonna, take the pinfall in this Four Pillars match from MJF. Ultimately, it was Darby, which I can see them running it back between these two at a later date, later time, a couple years. But Darby is so over with everyone that I mean a loss will affect him the least. I think out of the three challengers, I'd say. But yeah, good stuff between these four. Main events. Anarchy in the arena. We have the Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Page. First, the Black Crow Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Will Utah, John Moxley. Right off the bat. So, people were... I can tell people were conflicted or kind of taken back. So, last year at Anarchy in the Arena, they played John Moxley's music still while they were all brawling in the crowd, and it felt like a bar fight. This time around, they have John the band who performs his music, they're out there in some weird uniform. Somewhere, yeah. If you know, you know. Anyways, so he was basically playing for almost half the match. And same kind of start. They were brawling in the crowd. Felt like a bar fight atmosphere. You know, chaotic. Spot I liked was Hangman. He was basically draping or scraping Brian off onto these guardrails on the walkway or the aisleway in the crowd. So that was a fun spot. Reminded me of that spot in the first Sam Stampede match between the Elite and the Inner Circle when Jake Hager draped, Hangman across that bar table. That was fun. That was hilarious. So, yeah, chaotic to start. Finally got to ringside area. The Elite led high flying moves onto all the BCC onto the outside. So they were brawling towards the stage area. And the band was still singing or still playing. So the Young Bucks, because the singer had on a Blackpool Comic Club shirt. So they basically gave this lead singer a super kick party, and he was out. No more singing for the rest of the match. At least for them. So, belt was introduced, a trash can was introduced. They were fighting in the concourse area. Claudio and one of the Young Bucks were fighting to the parking lot. Claudio actually hit a pile driver in the bed of a car or a truck, it looked like. So there's a Moxley back in the ring. He had a lariat following a paradigm shift for a near fall. Moxley had someone in looked like a half Boston Crab. Matt Jackson hit a exploding super kick to Moxley, which broke it up. Crazy. There were attacks involved, so Hangman hit a buckshot lariat flush on Wheeler Yuta for their fall. So, finally, like I said, there were attacks. Someone took off Matt Jackson's shoe, hit a atomic drop. Matt went feet first into these tags, which you can see that his foot was bleeding. Not in a good way after the match. So, Moxley had another paradigm shift, but only for their fall was broken up. Brian hit a motorcycle knee on Page. They had the inval elbows on Omega hit a one-winged angel but was broken up by Yuta. Here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm just not the biggest fan of Yuta, but he showed out. He had a good showing, very good showing in this match. So, cool. So the ending. So it looked like Omega was gonna hit the one wing angel on Yuta, but Don Callis, who was on commentary, went to the ring face to face with Omega, and then out of nowhere, this guy in a mask throws Callis out of the way, hits a big knee onto Omega, unveils himself as Konosuke Takeshita, and then Will Yuta follows up, hits a screwdriver to Omega's head, and then 1, 2, 3, Yuta pinned Omega. Definitely did not see that coming. I will say that. But the Blackrock Comic Club win thanks to Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita. That was fun. That was fun. So, but like he said, after the show, K Omega has a couple of non AEW friends that are gonna be looking for coming in for backup for the Elite in this feud. Who? I'd say Ibushi and maybe someone else. Who? I don't know. But nonetheless, this feud is going to be growing and keeps growing as we move from Double or Nothing to Forbidden Door. Also, the Owen Hart tournament is going to start, I believe, Wednesday, so keep in mind for that. But yeah, Double or Nothing, first half left to be desired, second half was very fun. So yeah, but anywho, thank you guys for joining me. See you guys later this week for Dynamite review. But if you liked the video, get to gist, leave a thumbs up, like. Thank you guys. Hey Joe, to love. Get out of here. Hope everyone had a happy Memorial Day. Peace out. Love you guys. See you.